Welcome back, everyone. This is Akanar with more Blueprints, where it's time to start day 19. Let's get it going here. This is our second day after having inherited the manor. And our first day, the next day or the day after, was something else. What another just incredibly fun, super fun draft that had a lot of fun discoveries. We did manage to discover a couple new rooms, which I want to check out here in the room directory in just a moment. And we also learned some new information underground. Some of it was a little bit of a, we learned some stuff that, oh yeah, we're getting steps from the sauna as well. We're getting steps from the sauna, and we also are getting gems for the first time to start our day. Well, not for the first time because we've had the freezer before, but as a regular, ongoing stipend, I suppose, similar to our gold stipend that we are getting here. Yeah, I guess our inheritance letter is now. This is the new order of things. The old letter. I have screenshots of the old letter. Cat Laser Brain getting distracted here. Let's pick up our allowance, which is up to 20 now. And we also have unlocked the Gemstone Cavern. So we now have 2 gems to start every day after how many episodes? I don't know how many episodes of you all just waiting in anticipation for me to draft the dang utility closet. We finally did that. We also, let me check that room directory that I was going to check. We also got some new rooms. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, I had checked the flavor text on the gallery, but I forgot to see which number it was. It is room number 7. We're still waiting to see what room number 1 is going to be. But we have added room 7. We also see our snazzy new Breakroom here that at some point, hopefully, some point soon, we're going to be drafting because we can get a key card to start the day as well. And now that key card is even more important than it was before because we learned that the door in the basement that unlocks with the basement key, which we managed to do yesterday, except we need a key card as well to run the elevator. So we need the basement key and the key card at the same time. So while it was exciting to get in that basement door, there's still more to do. Another obstacle in our way. Let's see, what other new stuff did we add? Have we updated anything about room 46? I hadn't thought to check whether this flavor text updated since we actually reached this room. The mysterious room mentioned in H.S. Sinclair's will, named only by number. This looks like it's the same as before. Rarity rumored. That was the puzzling thing about the end of day 17, was that, you know, we had this ending, we had a cutscene to kind of reach credits. But we never really stepped foot inside room 46 like all the other rooms that we've been able to explore. So, but we saw Simon peering in and seeing the blue crown. And I think actually I noticed in editing that the fireplace that we see on the title screen with the rogue moon over it is also there. I think we caught a brief glimpse of it peering into room 46. So I'm a little confused as to, are we actually going to get to explore this room 46 at some point, or is it just one of these things that if you want to end the game, if you want to get whatever ending you can get depending on the state of completion, then that's all you're going to get? Maybe that's all it is, but I'm curious. There's still mystery around this room 46. Oh, that's right. We do have now a Geist bedroom, another upgrade that we've acquired, so we've got some dice to look forward to when we draft that. That's going to be fun. Still hoping to get the tomb at some point. Don't know where that can show up, except my guess is it's one of these. It's the last outer room that's supposed to show up here at some point. Maybe now that we've inherited the manor, these rooms that seem to be, less common, like the gift shop. This was the other new room, or one of the other new rooms that we got. But it does, I wonder if the tomb is one of those that they were waiting for us to inherit the manor, and now we'll start throwing that in the draft pool without you really knowing what's going on behind the scenes. Oh, and we should check, of course, the flavor text. I always forget when we do these room upgrades, you got to check the flavor text. We did it with the break room, which I don't think has changed, but it looks like there is something new on the Geist bedroom. Some say the dead number among the guests of Mount Holly who have laid to rest in these beds. Oh God. Maybe maybe I'm having a change of heart all of a sudden on the Geist bedroom. No, those dice. Okay, maybe those dice are gonna come along with a price. Unintentional rhyme. Having to wander with the dead, perhaps. And we of course got to draft Lost and Found, which was a lot of fun. We're still hoping to draft the Mechanarium at some point when it actually has doors. I think we did have it offered when we had like 0 mechanical rooms or something like that. So man, there is just still so much to discover. Let's go ahead and we're gonna draft the outer room. There's no reason for us. The other discovery that we made last time is the well, there was a few of them. Oh yeah, right. The fountain has been. I forgot we have filled up the fountain again here. So at some point we're gonna need to drain this fountain again because we've learned some information about the reservoir. We've learned that there is. First of all, we learned that draining the reservoir all the way to the bottom, there's a bunch of buried treasure. There's a bunch of trunks that somebody threw down there. And apparently most of them have lies from Cirrus, aka red memos. Never trust the red memos. But there were a couple green memos that we got that did indicate, one of which I didn't fully absorb at the time because I'm at the end of a run and my brain is half dead. But I did see that... I finally realized they told us that the sanctum key, apparently there's a sanctum key in one of the black boxes. So I was thinking at first we might need, depending on whether the chests reset or not, we might need like, I don't know, 20 keys or something to go down to the bottom of the reservoir. Hopefully they don't reset. Hopefully those chests are open permanently. But even if they aren't, we only have to focus on the black chests. We only need to open the black boxes because of that green memo. There was another green memo that suggested there was only one prize to find, and if that is just the sanctum key, then, and there's no allowance tokens like those lying red notes were trying to deceive us into thinking, then we're just focused on the black boxes, and the max number of keys we would need would be like 6. So we want to get back to the chests at the bottom of the reservoir, but we also have some stuff to do regarding the pump room and changing the level of the reservoir, because we saw there was a glass. There was a window that somebody had stenciled some water levels and had denoted both an entry level, which we saw a mysterious tunnel that it looked like you could leave the reservoir through that tunnel, and that was at level 6. But there was also a dock level, and this was another thing. I read it, but my mind just did not process it because I was just tired and ready to call it a day. But there was a dock level, which I think actually confirms my original theory, which I had started to discard. This theory that we could lower the reservoir by 1 notch and be able to ride in the boat. I thought that, and then I thought, is this game really going to let me do that? I feel like I'm overthinking things. We're just supposed to drain the reservoir and get to the bottom of it, right? I sort of like stashed it away as an overcomplication. Now circling back around to that and seeing what we saw last time, maybe I was right. Maybe I shouldn't have abandoned that overcomplication so soon. We may, in fact, be able to ride that boat after all if we can get the water to the dock level. And then I don't know exactly what we do from there, but it really would make sense that we are supposed to somehow ride the boat through that tunnel. We would need to get the pump room several different times, or somehow have enough steps to go back and forth between the pump room to navigate things. But we might be able to make it work. All that to say, I'm thinking way far ahead to stuff that may or may not matter today, depending on what is offered. So why don't we start drafting? I always love talking about all the things that could and should and maybe will one day happen. But we got to focus also on what is actually happening today. And that is our first pick, which is Shelter, Toolshed, and Trading Post. I am certainly interested in getting both the Toolshed and the Trading Post again at some point. There is a special wrench that can lower the rarity on mechanical rooms that we're interested in getting. There's also there's so many other contraptions to make at the workshop, and we need to have our hands on as many items as possible. However, we've only drafted the Shelter the one time, and I do kind of maybe want to give it another shot, especially now that we have been doing all of these things with the boiler room. And the fact that if we could manage to just straight up negate stuff like the red room and not the red room, the weight room and the dark room, and maybe even the furnace, we might care about negating its effect as well. But one way or the other, it's a little weird with the furnace, because if you're negating the effects of red rooms, you want the furnace so that red rooms are more likely, but then it's going to be one of those effects that's negated, so it's weird. But regardless, the 3 red rooms that are connected to the boiler room, those are like the most detrimental effects. Losing half your steps with the weight room, not being able to draft through the dark room without seeing, you can't see your draft picks. I guess the archives as well. The archives hiding one of your draft picks. Those are, like, in my mind, the 3 worst effects. And they are all connected to the boiler room. They all have ducts. So if we could manage to get our hands on another boiler room while the shelter is active, that could be really fun. So why don't we do that? Let's give the shelter another try. And we now know with the time locked safe, we know that there is a gem, or there should be a gem. Maybe it's a one-time thing. Maybe that red gem is not there every single day. But we now know, at least, how we're supposed to do this. It looks like it's just past 10 o'clock. So I might have to, because I've been blabbering on for so long here, I might have to set this to, like, noon, because I think it only lets you set 1 hour ahead. I'll try to set it to 11 if it will let me. Oh, but we need to know what day it is, don't we? We do need to know the day. So today is day 19. Oh, okay. Are we into December yet? It's day 1 was November 7th, correct? So 7 plus 18 is 25, so it's November 25th. So November 25th, we might have to settle for noon on November 25th, but I'm going to take the time here to do a little bit of a waiting game. If it'll let me set it for 11 o'clock, then I'll be happy to... Oh, it's already open. Never mind. Never mind. And we do get another gem. Okay. Thankfully, they don't make us play that game more than once. So there we go. Okay, yeah, so we have this letter from Courtney that we did read previously. Is there anything new that stands out here? I pray one day to find our Marion safe, happy, and absolved. I'm not seeing anything like particularly... nothing that's changing. I don't really have a good idea of what's going on yet. I know that Mary supposedly is involved with these Blackwater insurgents in some way. That much feels very, based on the fact that she's got 3 different passports in the vault, it seems pretty likely that she is involved with some, well, shady business. It definitely is shady in the fact that they have to stay in the dark or stay out of the spotlight from the crown, the red curtain, whether or not their cause is good or bad, I think that's yet to be determined in my mind. I suspect it's probably, one of these, like, they're fighting against the ruling power. The Blackwater insurgents are meant to be the good guys. It's not incredibly clear just yet, but I always like to keep a little bit of we'll see what happens. Regardless, though, we do know that, that Courtney had very strong suspicions about Uncle Herbert's involvement with all of this. It's just, yeah, it's not exactly, we don't know. We're at the stage of the game where we have bits and pieces, but there's still so much. We have so many rooms yet to just even explore or draft, and we have rooms that we know that we need to revisit, because I didn't check the dark room I haven't checked it yet with the lights on. I haven't checked the master bedroom with the magnifying glass. All these, there's still so much information gathering that needs to be done. I feel like I want to have at some point some sort of I don't think there's any reason to check the radiation monitor. That is a synergy that we'll be looking for. Laboratory triggering the radiation monitor here. We'll see if we can get that to happen. But I want to have, I'm thinking about doing at some point maybe just a dedicated episode to me just kind of trying to piece all the information together that we have so far. Because there's so much of it. Like, we have another thing that we discovered in the reservoir is the presence of, there's another lock, another 4-character or 4-letter combination that we need to discover somewhere to get through that door. And that makes, I don't know how many different codes and combinations for safes and various locks around this place that just, I have no idea how to open so far. And maybe I have that information that if I just sat down and I poured over all the info that we've got so far, I could piece together, oh, these letters, when I, you know, we're very close to getting all of the letter or word pairings that have a 1-letter difference between them. We need, I think, what is it, 5-3 and then 9-4, I want to say. So we have a couple rooms left, and then we'll at least have all these letters that we can put together over the 45 room grid. Although we don't really have a letter, it's minus the antechamber, right? So it's 44 rooms. There's that thing to put together, but I don't know what to make of it all yet. I'm just, there's so much to this game, and it's like, I have to just, at this point, just stay focused on one thing at a time. Just draft one door at a time, and we'll take things as they come. We'll deal with things as they surface. Our first choice of the day is pantry. Well, our first choice after the outer room, that is. Our first choice to the right here in the entrance hall. I think I'm going to start favoring heading to the east wing first. We'll see how this goes, but I think we're going to take a pretty easy pantry here. I would love to get a guy's bedroom. I would love it, but I don't love, I've done it a few times now where we've taken a dead end here at the entrance hall, and man, does the draft feel tough going from there, because it's just like, I want to fill out this base, and I can't do it very easily if I'm closing off my options. So I feel like this is a very easy pantry, and then I think we'll go ahead and we'll draft in that direction and see if we can fill up the eastern side. This feels like maybe the way that the game, as I have done almost 20 drafts now, it just feels like this is how the game wants you to, don't worry so much about like drafting. Like, we could draft every single door at the entrance hall. That could be a thing. But I kind of like the idea of smoothly filling out one side as we go. And then you have more information to go on when you go back to draft the rest of the doors in the entrance hall. Feels better to me. What also feels what also feels better to me in this particular instance, I think, is taking a bedroom. We're getting a bedroom, a purple room, no matter what we do. Spare bedroom versus nursery versus regular old bedroom. I just like the spacing on the regular bedroom. Like, yeah, of course we want a nursery before we draft these two. But I'm not going to put a dead end here. I've got 65 steps. We started with a sauna. So we get the bedroom that angles us to the east wing. And then we get one of our T-shaped rooms, and we start filling up the east wing. Let's get the bedroom, and it's this is a nice room to have if you're going to be doing this little back and forth strategy. We get a gem as well. Cool. If you're doing this back and forth, now you don't have to worry even, you get to worry even less about your steps. So let's see what we get on the east wing. All right, that's a drawing room that we do have to spend a gem on, unfortunately, but I want to draft out my base. I want to fill it out. The reading nook could be nice to get us a guaranteed key, since we have none so far. And of course the Geist bedroom as well, but I want to get the Geist bedroom in the corner. Let's do drawing room, and of course with the drawing room we can re-roll, right? If we don't like the options that we've got. I think it's an overrated thing, an overrated ability, because so often with 3 choices, it's actually pretty rare to get none of them that you want. There's almost always a reasonable case to be made for at least one of the picks. And this ability on the drawing room, I just feel, is so seldom worth a gem. Especially in this case when we're so early in the draft. But we'll take it here though, because it does allow us at least to draft the 2 doors that we want to get to. So let's do that, and let's see. Now we'll take that Geist bedroom. I'll take a Geist bedroom now if you don't mind. Or nursery. Give me a good dead end here, please. Please. That's the bunk room, huh? So look, the bunk room shows up at this point. The bunk room shows up here after we've drafted the bedroom. Do you just have to draft one other bedroom and then the bunk room gets added to the pool? Don't tell me, of course. But I do wonder, I feel like this is the earliest that this has ever shown up. Have we ever got this, we're into rank 2 and we see a bunk room? Maybe this has happened once before. We're not taking it here. We have no synergies, but I mean, it does have the fact that we don't have the synergies, and we don't get the 2 hallway proc, which we've never gotten to happen. But we would get either 2 gems or 2 keys, and we would get to read the book that we missed, the next pages that we've been trying to take a look at. So that would be a reason to draft the bunk room. But I feel like I would just much rather take the storeroom here and give myself that key. We're going to have a healthy stack of keys, gems, and coins here early on. The other option would be to redraw. Is this worth a redraw and try to go for something like a Geist bedroom or a walk-in closet? I don't want to take the parlor just yet, because I would like to utilize the door that we draft from the parlor, and I have 3 gems already, so getting a key feels better to me. So I'll take the storeroom here, even though the bunk room could be 2 keys, but I don't... that feels random to me. I don't know if it is one of these things where it looks at your inventory and says, oh, you don't have any keys, but you have 3 gems. I'll give you 2 keys because you drafted the bunk room. I don't know if it does that. I don't think it does, but I have no clue. So what I'm going to do is take the guaranteed key with the storeroom, and hopefully we get that bunk room later on when we have a little bit more synergy with it. Of course, we'll take our items. I was just looking for a second to see if they had given us a broken lever or anything additional here, but it looks like just the promised items. So that's fine. Good, good. We got a key now. And let's go ahead and draft the other door in the drawing room, and we're hoping to do... I think... yeah, let's just take the door and see what we get offered. Ooh, that is a greenhouse. A greenhouse, you say? Okay, greenhouse versus, you know, Geist bedroom would not be horrible. Like this, I kind of like the idea, if you are going to take a dead end at some point along one of these wings, you can do it like the first wing that you go up. You could do like a real good dead end here, and then you still have the entrance hall both directions to draft out of and fill the rest of your base. But it's still not ideal. The greenhouse, though, on the other hand, man, we get so many gems by drafting the greenhouse. This is the thing. On its face, or just without the are you more likely to draw green rooms portion, if you even took that out of the pool here, or took that out of the consideration, it just has so many gems. Because you're getting the organic gems that are in there. There's, I think, at least 2 of them. So we're getting a +1 gem at the very minimum. But then there's such a strong chance that there's going to be a watering can as well, which we can use. Could we use it right away in the greenhouse? I think maybe you have to wait until you draft another green room. I'm not totally sure. But the other thing about the greenhouse now is because of the fact that we've Kool-Aid manned the brick wall, it's not a dead end anymore, right? We can keep going in rank 3, which is kind of perfect. So I like the greenhouse here. And so the greenhouse, though, this is the only thing, is that we do have the shelter. And if we take the greenhouse, we're now kind of, I don't know, we're making it a little less likely that red rooms are going to be showing up. But I don't think that's like you really don't draft any one color exclusively. The colors intermingle, and the greenhouse, so many of the green rooms are on the wings. So we still, like, they're kind of like mutually exclusive in a way from many of the red rooms, like the archives and the weight room. You can't even draft those on the wings at all. So in so many instances, red rooms are not offered next to green rooms, and maybe that's on purpose, right? Maybe that's the design of the game, is we're green and red are kind of like contrasting colors that we're not going to put together in a it's not in like in Magic, where you'd get a nice big old green-red stompy gruel deck. We're drafting blueprints here. So I'm going to take the greenhouse. I don't think this is worth a reroll. And once again, we take a drawing room and we don't use a single reroll because you almost always get options that are just good enough. The other thing I guess we get access to is a potential antechamber lever with the greenhouse, but you got to have a broken lever for that. So, yeah. I'm not going to fully reread this this logbook here, but I will just remind myself the fact that we now know of, I guess, oh yeah, Mechanarium, right. The Mechanarium is where one of the antechamber levers is, supposedly. It's like the backup to the secret garden. So those 2 levers control the left or western antechamber door. This door or this lever in the greenhouse, as well as the weight room. We've done the weight room how many times now, and we've never even, I don't think one time have we actually flipped this lever here in the greenhouse to open that bottom door. So the weight room has just been so clutch on that front. And then we have the Great Hall, and there's still the wall in the secret garden that we want to bust through, right? That is sort of a stretch goal as well that we have. I forgot to add it to my notes, but I have it in the back of my mind as like, we want to do that at some point, because who knows, if we bust through the brick wall in the secret garden, could it get us out to this area that's on the east wing? I guess, you know, it depends. Could we draft the secret garden on the west wing as well? And would we be busting out into the west wing? I don't know. We're going to see when we actually draft the secret garden next. And have a power hammer. Those two things have to happen. Okay, we get 2 gems, and we get a sledgehammer. Okay, we get a sledgehammer, so that's one piece of the power hammer puzzle that we need to put together. Just need a battery, just need a broken lever, and a workshop. That's all. That's all. Let's keep drafting, though. Let's see how far this goes until we get shoveled into rank 4. A Cloister of Lydia at this position. I don't think that's what I want. But I also don't necessarily love the courtyard here. I would love it much more if the courtyard pointed into rank 4. That would be awesome. It could still be the pick. I think it's between the closet and the courtyard for me. I like the closet because of its ability to get us a die. Although, maybe the closet is less valuable now that we have access to the Geist bedroom at some point. Or that we theoretically have access to the Geist bedroom as well. It's in the pool. But if we take the courtyard here, we do get to keep drafting, and there's a chance that we would get the Cloister of Lydia offered after the courtyard, and maybe we would take that. That would put us down to, I forget when we have 2 gems in the courtyard that we're getting. So it's another +1 to our gem count, and there could be a chest there, which we would be able to open with our sledgehammer. That might get us even more gems. So this decision might change altogether, depending on what the courtyard has. It is also nice to take the courtyard here on rank 3, where the nice thing about the door not pointing into rank 4 is we know that it's guaranteed to not be a security keycard door. So why don't we just take the courtyard, and let's see what the courtyard has for us. No chests, unfortunate, and no other items. It's, I guess another reason to wait on the courtyard would be to, like, try to get the veranda or something first. Like, the ordering on these green rooms is a little bit, there's some considerations to be made on the orderings. And, that's just, I'm still figuring it all out. That's why we're playing the game. It's so much fun. I think we will just continue drafting, though. I think at this point, I would be okay with an elbow that points us up into rank 4, and then I can come back around to the entrance hall and fill out the rest of the base. That would be the ideal. If I have to take a dead end, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what's offered, though. Let's see what we get. Not ideal. It is a solarium, though. So if we take a dead end, that is not the worst dead end to take, because it's a green room, and we did say that the green rooms are more likely. There's a good chance that there's another, we've seen a lucky rabbit's foot in the solarium before, but we did get that with a veranda, right? So the veranda here, not having a veranda is, we're missing out on some potential items, but man, the reading nook and the secret passage. The secret passage could get us, maybe it would be worth considering the secret passage to get a cloister. Is this what we do? We take the secret passage and draft the cloister? Maybe that's the smart move, because the Cloister of Lydia in that position is actually reasonable. That would cost us a sizable bit of gems, though. That's a lot of gems. We could... Is there ever a world... We don't have to take a cloister necessarily, though. We could get offered another courtyard that would, point the way that we want. That would actually point into rank 4. Or an aquarium. An aquarium, one of these cheaper rooms that we don't necessarily want to spend 3 gems on just yet. it's probably correct to take the secret passage here and go for a green room. We could also take a secret passage and go for a red room. A red room could get us things like the archives or the weight room. The problem with those rooms is that they're much rarer. The greenhouse is giving such a big buff, so we're seeing stuff like the solarium more commonly because of the greenhouse. The secret passage, I don't know how it influences the rarity. It feels like, I don't know, we've not really drafted red rooms too much out of the secret passage, so I can't say for sure. But like the low roll on the secret passage for red rooms would be what? The furnace? You wouldn't want to put a furnace after a secret passage here in this spot. You wouldn't want a lavatory, and you wouldn't want the chapel. You might settle for the chapel because it might be what points you into rank 4. But if we, like, I don't care so much about paying the tithe with 34 coins. We have 34 coins already. What the hell? This allowance stuff has gotten so good for us. But there are only the 2 dead ends. In terms of navigating, if we did take the secret passage to choose a red room, we would only be having, like, if we got extremely unlucky and it gave us lavatory plus furnace, then we might be forced to take the chapel, or we might be forced to take a maid's chamber that would, like, point downward. So, that's the worst possible rule. In all other instances, we're getting, you know, a maid's chamber that points into rank 4, or we're getting a chapel that at least is going to point us to rank 3, aka the West Wing. Same with the gymnasium and the Darkroom. But that's the thing, is if we get the Darkroom now, we're happy because we have the shelter. Now is when we want to get the Darkroom. Now is when we want to get the gymnasium, or even the weight room. The weight room or the archives would be like the ideal to get after this secret passage here, because we get all those doors and no downside. And of course, the three-way rooms, the three-way red rooms, easy for me to say, are all free. They're not 3 gems like the cloister is. So let's actually do that. Let's do the secret passage, and let's take a red room because we've got the shelter. Yes, I could be extremely disappointed here in a moment because because the RNG gods absolutely curb stomp me. But I think we have enough. There's just those couple, or even just the one really bad case. Every other case for us is reasonable, and there's a couple, maybe even a few, that are really good. Let's see what we get. There's the archives. Boom. Exactly what we wanted. Absolutely perfect. That is an archives. Let's fucking go. And then the only choice is, once we take the archives, that's so beautiful, the shelter. Ooh. Okay, I'm glad I thought of the fact that we have a shelter to go with our secret passage. The archives, the only question here now is going to be, do we go all the way back around to the entrance hall and start to fill things up from the bottom? Maybe so. We don't have to, though. We could just continue here, and we could draft through the archives to the West Wing and see if we get like a West Wing hall offered over there, or just any T-shaped room. Or a terrace, right? We might go for a terrace if we know that we're going to be getting, yeah, the terrace on that side, assuming it can be drafted on that side, because we're headed into the West Wing, that would be the direction that it works. So why don't we do that? Let's take the archives, and the first thing we'll draft here, now that we have a guaranteed door, well, we also, okay, we need to gather some information. Let's take the archives. We do need to be a little bit careful because, okay, I mean, we're sheltered. That's the important thing. The first important thing. The next important thing is that this is not a security keycard door. I don't want to make the same mistake that I made way back on, was it day 7? Where I failed to neglect. Well, I noticed and then just completely put out of mind the fact that there was a keycard door in the security room that was blocking our draft the rest of the way. So this is not a keycard door. That's good to know. So we have at least one door going into rank 4. So, with that in mind, I did make a note about this book as I was going over and doing some editing. The clipping that we found in the root cellar. I'm gonna have to check my notes, but I believe I believe that the clipping in the root cellar was actually part of this here. This search continues. Let me pull that up from my notes. Yeah, the search continues had been clipped out here. Author and illustrator whose fanciful stories name Marion Marigold. This upper, like these first, like the first 3 sentences have been kind of like clipped out. And then below that was written, no sign has been found yet. And I wondered if rereading this whole article would give any new information at all. I'm not getting anything new, or I'm not noticing anything as to why that article was clipped out. It's not like there was like another half of, or another fragment of information that needed to be pieced together here. At least as far as I can tell. Maybe the timing is important. 3:45 p.m. Friday, getting into a carriage after a late luncheon date at the 100 Bells Tea Room. I guess we know that there's like a note that says something about 5 p.m. Sandy Heights. So I don't know. Maybe the timing here is important, or is going to be important at some point. But I have at least noted the connection there between the root cellar and the fact that we found that little note, which is the same newspaper clipping as this article here. So we'll see if that's important, more important at some point. Oh my God, there's a battery pack here. Holy crap. Well, what do you know? Every so often, you can get an item in the archives. We've seen, I think, we got a key card here, didn't we? We actually got a key card here one day. So I always check the desk at least, just in case that key card comes back. But now there's a battery here, and I feel like there must have been at least one other. I suppose I could check my notes and see, but there are random items that do show up here from time to time. So that means with a battery pack and a sledgehammer, we just need a broken lever. And so we're very much in the market for a workshop now. Now, we don't have any new walls to break down as far as I know. We would need to get our hands on the secret garden. I think that's the only other brick wall that I know of that we need to power hammer through. So, okay, but that's a stretch, or stretch goal. That's something for later. Right now, let's keep on drafting and see. We could even draft, if it's a really good dead end here, we could do that because we have the one door going into, and we can still draft the rest of the rooms down below. This is an unusual way for me to have done my draft, but I think the game is okay with you doing this, right? The game gives you ways for you to just kind of draft around one side and then like S-shape your way back to the other and then go into rank 4. Like, this is fine to do it this way. You don't have to just stick with rank 1 all the way first and then rank 2 all the way first, and just go with the flow. See how the draft, ride that draft wave. There it is. That's what I was talking about. Okay, I think we're going red-green today. This is looking like a red-green draft. We've only drafted the courtyard so far that we would be a little bit sad about, you know, not... We have also drafted the secret passage, so getting like double cloister is going to be less valuable, or less likely. We'd have to get our hands on a prism key to get, you know, duplicated cloisters. But the cloister, a single cloister, is still in the pool. And that's the real combo here with taking the terrace that you love to get. This also is going to make an eventual patio much more valuable. Now, you could also say, you've got a commissary here and 5 gems. You should maybe take the commissary with you because you've got 34 coins to spend. Like, maybe that's just worth more you know, gems. And I don't remember if we put in a special order for a magnifying glass, but we are in the market for, you know, we've got coins to spend. So it is, I don't think, this is another spot where they're giving us the Geist bedroom, but I think it's between the terrace and the commissary here. And it's actually maybe a little bit closer than I was first thinking. But obviously, I would love to draft a commissary after a cloister. That's how you want this to happen. Terrace, cloister of Lydia, and commissary, and kitchen, and all the shops. Let's steer into the way that the draft is leading us. The draft is going green. Once again, when you go in that direction, let's take it. It does, you know, make things a little bit awkward on the wings, but we still got we got doors at the archives, we got doors at the entrance hall. This is fine. Dead end here. A good dead end is perfectly A-okay. We take our gem, feels like that's a guarantee, and move right along. And I think now we just go ahead and we draft the door through into rank 2 through the archives, and this is fine. If we have to go back around to the entrance hall, we can do that. But if the draft just leads us here, if we're able to draft all the rooms from this direction, then that's fine. We didn't lose any value by not drafting those doors at the entrance hall. So this is fine. Just keep going with the draft the way that it leads. That's a dark room. That's a dark room. This is perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's what we want. We want the dark room, and now we want a utility closet. Slam dunk dark room. We've got 6 gems. We're not desperate for gems from the den. A trunk in the den would be nice, because we do want keys. We're definitely in the market for keys, but we want these rooms first for our shelter. We want the archives. We want the dark room. The dark room can show up apparently at rank 3, or it can show up once you've drafted a red room. I don't know exactly how that is all unlocked. The aquarium is now here as well. The aquarium showing up also is an interesting thing, because I feel like this is a very early aquarium not coming out of a secret passage. So maybe there's also some stuff with the aquarium and other red rooms having already been drafted. Either way, we're taking a dark room, goddammit, and now I want a utility closet so bad. So now it would be nice to get an elbow that does connect us to the entrance hall from the dark room, because that would get us, we would be able to draft the door above the entrance hall without going all the way back around through, even though we saved the steps from the bedroom and we've got extra steps because of the sauna. It would still be nice not to do that extra legwork if we had to. But the only question is, are we drafting, which room are we drafting first from the dark room? While we still have as many elbows as possible, let's go ahead and the den as well, connecting to the entrance hall would also be would be perfectly fine. So let's draft through the bottom of the dark room, and the yo, oh my god, I hadn't even thought of this possibility. We don't even need the utility closet. The shelter prevents the fuse from blowing. That is insane. Are you kidding? Wow. Holy crap. That is so fucking cool. We have stuff to see. We have photos to see. Oh my god, there are so many photos in here. It's the dark room. I do actually have experience as a kid. There was a dark room that my family was involved in a little bit of. Oh, there's a gem in here as well? I guess we can't see that with the lights off. There's a gem in here. What the fuck? I was gonna say though, my parents were involved a little bit with some printing way back in the day, and so there was times when they had to use a dark room, and I do have actually some very, very distant memories as a very young kid being inside an actual dark room. So this is bringing back a little bit of that. But man, there are so many. Oh, there's artwork here as well. They do show you the artwork in the dark room if the lights are on. Let's take some time before we draft. Let's just take some time to explore. This is our first chance here to explore the photos in the dark room. Here's the apple orchard before this stump. This was still a tree at this point and not a stump. And I see there's a heart. There's a heart on the tree. I don't know that I can make out the letters that are inside the heart, but a young couple had professed their love to each other on this tree, and then it got chopped down. Perhaps because that love was broken, and somebody couldn't stand the sight of that heart anymore. Oh man. Okay, there's so much potential. There's a whole romance novel tied up in just this one photo. So much of a story to be told. Okay, some of these are duplicate photos, right? Like there's a couple different copies here, it looks like, of this photo, which we now see. I think this is in our scrapbook, isn't it? Except we didn't see the camera. The Cinca Company camera is not part of the frame that's in our scrapbook, but I suspect this is in the lavatory. I don't know for sure, but the bathtub in the back, it looks like the lavatory. And it looks like maybe there's something here, or maybe it's just the faucet. The bathtub faucet is just in the background there, and my mind is wanting there to be something suspicious because we had in the drawing room, we had a sketch of Herbert Sinclair, and there was a detail with the candlestick holder that you had to notice in order to get access to the safe. So I'm wondering if there's a similar detail here. Maybe, maybe not. What else did we see? This is another. So there's a couple duplicate photos. We've seen this one, I think, a couple times. Two of the maids. Don't know exactly what importance this has. It's a very blurry photo, or not fully developed. One of these might be Mila. I think that's supposed to be one of the maid who has the maid's chamber. Here's the more fully developed photo. Okay. Could be that if we looked back at either the photo in the maid's chamber itself that looks like it depicts all the staff. Maybe one of these faces will be recognizable there as Mila. Here's a new photo. Ah, this is somebody sitting in the office. Who would this be? Could this be Anne Babbage? I don't recognize her as any of the ladies that are part of either the Epson or the Sinclair lines. The Baroness, it doesn't look like the Baroness. I feel like this is somebody we don't recognize, which the only person I can think of that would make sense to be in the office and maybe writing a note, leaving it there on the desk for Herbert, would be the house manager. Is that her title? Mrs. Babbage. That's my guess. Another shot of the orchard. Lady Epson. And then a note. Print notes. HS has requested yet another print of her ladyship. I assume for one of her rooms in the West Wing, as well as an enlarged print of the enclosed photograph. He said the last development was too dark, so keep an eye on that. An enlarged print of the enclosed photograph. Don't know if this is like, any of these notes could at some point be there could be a very key piece of information here that's going to make sense 10 drafts from now. Otherwise, that seems like a very unassuming note at the moment. Oh, and we did see these. These were the first photos that we looked at. Not sure what room this might be. The dining room. And is this Herbert? This looks like somebody else. I don't recognize who this is. Could it be a much older Simon? Not us, but like Herbert's brother is Simon, isn't he? And that's our grandfather. Is this our grandfather? There's a note that's being held here. Maybe we need the magnifying glass for this note, because I can't really make it out, but it also looks like it could be backwards. Also, I don't know if it's a red note or a green note. Like, we're in the dark room and everything is red, so it looks like a red note. I think we might need the magnifying glass for this. Also, I don't know who this guy would be over here. It does look like the dining room, though. And there's a suitcase in the back with a bed. Could that be the servants' quarters? Is this like Mr. Nagula? Maybe there's a few different possibilities on who that could be. It might make more sense once we actually read that note that he's holding. But we need the magnifying glass, I think. I mean, it could be that we need to look at all of these with a magnifying glass. Like, there's some of these that just feel like they could have some important details that need to be examined more closely. So, either way, what an amazing discovery. This game is just the best. All these cool little interactions that you just wouldn't necessarily occur to you. But we get to look at the darkroom for the first time, and it wasn't with even the utility closet. What do you know? Let's go ahead and draft the bottom door here and see if we can connect it to the entrance hall. A den, a three-way, or an elbow, one or the other that gets us back to the entrance hall would be nice to save us some steps. Let's see if we can do that. Of course, they give us an elbow that points away from it. And, but wait a second. This is fascinating. Because what if we go, I think we're taking the reading nook here for sure, because we need to start getting keys. This is the one thing here that we don't really have a lot of yet is keys. So what if we went reading nook, and then we went library, and then we went boiler room? Because the archives and darkroom both have ducks. And maybe that's why the darkroom is offered there next to the archives. Ducks, quack, quack. I think this is a reading nook. I mean, I don't have any rerolls, so I have to take one of these. And if I'm settling for a bunk room, I'm hoping that it has 2 keys. And I think I would rather just take the guaranteed one here with the reading nook, right? And then we can see what we draft through. We don't have to draft the library through the reading nook, as per usual. That's the not a requirement. Wouldn't it be amazing if we get the weight room offered through the archives? Because that's the thing. If we can get the library and then the boiler room, and then we're connected to, we have the duct system going, we could theoretically get the weight room. It would be the best 3 possible sheltered red room outcome rooms. The floor plans that we want to see most. Words are so hard sometimes, guys. With the shelter, the 3 red rooms that you want most to protect yourselves from. That's what I'm hoping we can get here. One step at a time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Haha, utility closet. It would have been, I might have just slam dunked this utility closet if we didn't have that shelter. Although, if we didn't have the shelter, am I ever drafting the archives in the darkroom down here? The shelter is making this all possible. Now, this would be a great parlor. Or, I mean, not a great parlor, because we have 7 gems already. 10 gems is better than 7 gems. So it's a good parlor no matter what. But I want to do this thing. We still have work to do with the boiler room, right? Even if it's not, we don't immediately have to get the boiler room. Well, it would be tough to connect it to the pump room because we don't have the pool yet. But we do want to do boiler room plus laboratory. That is still one of these to-dos. And it would be set up perfectly. If nothing else, though, getting the boiler room to raise the odds that we get a weight room offered through the archives. That's what I want to see here, right? That's the world I want to live in. And I think that's worth passing up the parlor and hoping to get that later on down the road because it's a common. Even though we do start to flood the pool with all the rank 4 and up options. But it's got to be worth going for here, right? Library, if nothing else, it's a library and you can get all sorts of stuff like the attic and who knows what. Like, you don't have to get a boiler room. It's just, we're with 7 gems, anything is possible with the library. Who knows? We might even take we can't take the Chamber of Mirrors because it would not get offered here, right? You can't get the 4-way rooms offered on the wing. So the pool is a little bit more limited with the library, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll take it. And we also, I think, get a new book, don't we? We do get a new book here that we can check out. The fixed stars. Wait a minute, is this? Okay, we'll take a look at that in just a moment. We'll do our duties here that I always do, checking the books, the Mount Holly records and whatnot for any new details that might stand out. This one is really, there's nothing. Oh, it does keep track of how many gallery art pieces that you have named, which we've only done 2 so far. I'm surprised we managed. It looked like we were going to get 0. I was so stumped on all of those at one point or another, but I did manage to eventually get my brain in the right mode on a couple of them. Anything over here in the scrapbook? Now that we've seen the darkroom, some of these scrapbook photos are just that much more interesting. I do want to get back to the laboratory at some point. Not yet. We need one more room, red room, before we get the lavatory. Don't want to have that interacting with the shelter just yet. Ooh, has the pump room been promoted to our new favorite floor plan? We never pass up the pump room. Although I think it might have been the favorite before. I think this favorite floor plan is just, which one of you drafted like 100% of the time? It's just pure percentage. So if you've seen this only one time and that's you took it that one time, 1 out of 1, that could be your favorite floor plan. Most time spent in entrance hall. Yo, apparently the entrance hall has been upgraded here. Ooh, the vault has moved up to 3rd on our list for most paid for. Okay. Pantry, reading nook, courtyard, most drafted. Oh, and we are up to swim trunks as the largest purchase. Man, that one purchase that requires, what, 110 gold? What was it? I don't remember what it was in the gift shop. 110 gold, man. We've gotten that before. You know, we've had a day where we actually made it that far. Still got to do a lot better in the classroom department. And then maybe one day, most avoided floor plans is servants' quarters. It's laboratory as well as on there. And utility closet. Oh, the poor utility closet was like, dude, I've got the best thing in the world in here. You just need to draft me so you can experiment some more with those VAC settings. Oh, there's a gem here. Dude, I almost passed right by the gem. Let's read our new book. Let's check out our new book. I think the reason that we didn't take we've passed the servants' quarters in a lot of instances because we've actually had keys at those times, and we just didn't need a bunch more keys, or we didn't need a dead end. That's the stickler with those servants' quarters and all those dead ends is that they're dead ends. All right, so who had borrowed this before us? Clara Epson. Lady Epson herself, way back in 61. Richard Witt, The Fixed Stars. Stargazer's Companion to Constellations, Fanary's Bird and Sons, publishing 1809. This book contains a complete starbase, a list of constellations, and the observed effects that accompany the appearance of each one. Is this not the same exact book that's in the observatory? Depending on the number of stars that can be seen in the sky, this is the exact same book, is it not? A solid base for astronomy. Okay. I'm going to check my notes to be sure, but I think this wording is exactly the same. The preface wording is, as far as I can tell, exactly the same. Is there some additional detail here? Maybe somebody scribbled a note that's going to give us further information. There's our Draxus the Dead that we're coming up on pretty soon. Speaking of dead end rooms. The sale, everything is 50% off today. We also have a sale coming up because don't we have day 20? Today's day 19. We finally have made it to days 20 and 21 coming up. Isn't that supposed to be the big sale in the commissary at least? Green rooms are more likely to contain special flowers today. Yeah, this is just... Huh? Is the only reason to draft or to request this book is the only reason to see that Clara Epson had checked it out? I guess, okay, I guess that makes sense because we know that she has a telescope. We've got the spyglass telescope that's in her ladyship's chamber. Otherwise, why did I request this? If I'd have realized that the title... I mean, I still would have requested it even if I realized that the title was the same because who knows, there could be scribbled notes that we get with the magnifying glass. But otherwise, I don't see anything different. So, okay. Great. Well, that was illuminating. Wonderful. What? Let's see what we get through the library. A brand new room. A brand new shop, in fact. The Bookshop. I mean, we're taking that. I'd love to have a conference room because, you know, spreading stuff to the conference room is great. And also it's hilarious that both conference room and patio are offered right next to each other. This patio would actually be very good. But come on, it's a new freaking thing that we've never seen before. There's books for sale and we have 34 coins. We got to check out the new room. Bookshop. What the fuck? Okay, we're getting new stuff, guys. I think this is just the way the game is designed, isn't it? You get new stuff. And the new stuff here is the Bookshop. This cozy little bookstore is often tucked away in the most secluded corners of the estate, giving guests little opportunity to appreciate the curated selection of equally rare books it offers. It is also a rare. Titles purchased in the Bookshop will be automatically added to the library's book request form, which fittingly is the only room in which this rare floor plan can be drawn. I had a feeling. I had a feeling as soon as it said Bookshop and the fact that we've never seen it before, I did think to myself, is this because we're drafting from the library? It makes sense. Would the Bookshop therefore... Well, of course, the Bookshop would be more likely to show up on a day that you have the schoolhouse because you're more likely to get the library on that day. And there we have it now. We have our second to last shop that we have yet to draft. Okay, the picture, these new or these rare rooms, the full picture of the estate is coming more and more into focus. Aha, there is a black bishop in this room. Got it. Was there a chess piece in the library? We're gonna, well, actually, we're not gonna turn around at this point, because saving steps and whatnot. But yeah, Black Bishop, and we've got our shop here. Let's just see if there's any other details before there is an article on the wall here. Reddington Herald, a new clue, sold out in hours. This is another one of Marion's books. It should come as no surprise that the latest book from local author Marion Marigold is breaking literary records and making headlines even in absentia. So this is after her disappearance. The release of her new book, A New Clue, comes only 14 months after the distressful report of the author's mysterious and unexplained disappearance. Her current publisher has issued a statement debunking the conspiracy theories surrounding the book's recent announcement, stating, "The writing of the book was completed and well into the editing stages many months before the disappearance." Is this another attempt by her publisher to, like, distance her, or at least try to distance themselves, one way or the other, from the Blackwater insurgents? In addition, the publisher has revealed that all of the proceeds from first edition sales of A New Clue will be going to Lasting Hope, a nonprofit organization that aims to provide resources and intel in the investigations of missing persons. Still, the timing and conveniently mysterious title of Marigold's third book has left many cynics denouncing the book and her disappearance as a cheap publicity stunt. Okay, never mind. It's just the fact I hadn't put... sometimes I have to zoom out. I get so laser focused on reading one word at a time. The title of the book is New Clue, A New Clue. So of course that might, if the author then disappears and people are like, wait a second, are these two things related? Obviously, that makes much more sense now that I zoom out a little bit and look at the full context. Anyway, Detective Bon Margle. Detective Bon Margle. Okay, that name... Did I make note of this name? Because we've heard this before, haven't we? I do see Margle shows up once in my Google Docs. It was... Oh. It was one of the borrowers for Swimbird. We saw Detective Bon Margle, which I thought... I was like, that's not a real name. That's like a made-up... you know... that's a made-up name, it sounds like. Well, it's a detective, apparently. Detective Bon Margle. Okay, no wonder that was one of the borrowers for Swimbird. Bon was doing some investigation, who many theorize may have been the inspiration for A New Clue, was quoted only saying that the book was unintentionally accurate. What the hell? Regardless of their opinions, fans, pundits, and cynics alike were standing together, elbow to elbow, in bookshop queues this morning, eager to get their hands on what may very likely be the last words ever published by the missing author. Whoa. Okay. Bon Margle actually exists, and apparently was the inspiration for the book. Well, I'd imagine that that's got to be one of the options here at the bookshop, right? Just going to make sure that there's no... Just like the library, it does seem like none of these books on the bookshelf are actually... Until we get any sort of note or information that tells us, go to this one specific book and wait 5 seconds, because then the pixel or the book will actually become interactable, similar to the cloister. Until we get that, I don't think any of the books on the bookshelves are doing anything for us. The bookshop has 5 books of varying prices. Some of these, we need to get our hands on some coins. I keep, you know, our allowance is up to 20, and that feels awesome. But then I see a shop like this, and I'm like, dude, we got so far to go. Bro, okay, though. There's Drafting Strategy Volume 4 and 5. We're probably getting at least those 2. Awesome. Does it... I'm suspecting that once we click on one of these, that's going to purchase it. I'm okay with purchasing Volume 4. We've read Volumes 1, 2, and 3, right? So, and we do have that achievement or trophy that talks about winning the Drafting Strategy Sweepstakes. It does just go straight. Okay, so it's not... It's... All right. You don't get any... I was wondering if it would give you an additional description of the book. We only have the book title to go on. But that's fine. We wanted to purchase that one. So Drafting Strategy Volume 4, Realm and Rune, The Curse of Black Bridge, a new clue, and History of Arindia. These are going to be permanent additions, right? Similar to, yeah, permanently added to the library and available to check out on your next visit. So just like the gift shop, these only have to be purchased the one time. So this is a gold sink. We've got a gold sink. If we get our hands on a vault or whatever else happens today, we've got options to come back to here, which is good. It can only be drafted out of the library. So I also don't have to bemoan the fact, oh, one of my shops that I could have drafted out of the cloister. Nope, not this one. For now, we're just going to get Drafting Strategy Volume 5 because we might want to use our coins in the commissary or somewhere else. So let's just get those two for now. And we can look forward to picking those up next time we get the library. Okay, it is going to cost us some steps, but we are going to go back to the entrance hall because we do only have the 2 keys. We want to try to get... There's one more room that we know is unlocked that could be a walk-in closet or even a regular closet I would probably take for the chance to get some keys. So let's go draft that. We do have to spend the extra steps because of the way that the draft went, and I just you know, never circled back around, but it's fine. This is how it goes. This is why you draft the sauna. This is why the game gives you steps. Don't worry so much about those steps. There's that closet, but there's also a Geist bedroom. Okay, perfect. We finally got the Geist bedroom in a position that we want. This probably also, well, we'll see. I would imagine we still get a chance at an extra item on top of the dice that we get now. We'll take the Geist bedroom. We should get the 2 dice. We get the 2 dice. Oh, no, it does replace. Oh, okay. It actually is on the table because it's an item that you have to pick up. Okay, just like gems or keys. What the fuck? What the fuck? That almost scared the shit out of me. I was like, what? What? There's a freaking angel of death here. They were not kidding. They were not kidding. Some say the dead number among the guests of Mount Holly who have laid to rest in these beds. What the fuck? There's an actual Geist in the bedroom. Guys. Guys, there's a... Okay, that actually almost scared the living daylights out of me. I don't think we can interact with it in any way. I was wondering for a second, do I need to just stand still next to the scythe? Just stand here and wait? A la, you know, erudition, light the way. You know, I don't think it's that kind of a thing. I think this is it looks like just some sort of flavor. A bit of flavor, even if momentarily terrifying flavor that has been added to the bedroom, guest bedroom. Okay, I'm a little sad that it has, if the dice have indeed replaced the chance that an additional item spawns here, that's a little bit disappointing. And one of those things that's in the fine print that you don't, the fine print that you can't read when you're actually doing this upgrade. So we don't get the extra steps, and we don't even get the extra item, but we do get 2 dice. So what am I really complaining about? Okay, we did not get our boiler room though, so we're not going to be buffing the chance that we get a weight room per se, but maybe there is still some increased chance that we get a weight room because we're drafting through the archives because it's a ducks quack quack. Let's see what we get though, because this is the only door that we have. I'm just hoping that it's not a key. Dude, are you serious? I think that's the way the game works. It's not, you don't necessarily have to have the boiler room online. It's ducks, baby. How perfect is this? This is like the god tier start to a shelter draft. I mean, I want the laboratory, obviously. There's no way in hell I'm passing a weight room here, guys. This is what I've been talking about the whole freaking slam dunk weight room. Bro. Ah, that's a keycard door. Okay, all right, that's one reason maybe not to slam dunk the weight room. I forgot about that little detail. Bring back my, actually we need utility closet and security room. Yeah. So the shelter does not prevent That's unfortunate. It doesn't prevent... There's nowhere to go but the weight room. It doesn't prevent security keycard doors. So our door into rank 5 is blocked. Unfortunate, but I think we'll draft... do we draft the wing first, or... the wing or the middle? Probably the wing, right? It just feels better. If we go to the wing, we have a chance to draft the garage. But if we take the garage, that means we are limiting our options quite a bit. So maybe we get more information. Maybe that's what we should prioritize, the rooms that are in the center. Because if you don't get a room like the weight room that opens up into a lot of directions, if you don't know, like right now we have 2 doors to continue our draft. Taking the garage ends one of those directions, and we have to get, we cannot take any chances with the other door. So maybe you take the chance with the door that goes out here first to see if you can get a passageway or some other, just as many doors as possible, and then you can take a garage and close things off if it means you get a bunch of keys. Let's do that first. And it is open to us, which is nice. There's a security room. Okay. Nothing going into rank 5, so we'll spend the gem here, I think, on the security room. We could re-roll. We have 2 dice, and so you could say, well, this is where you might want to re-roll to try to guarantee a security is once again ducts, right? It does seem like the duct system buffs itself, even without a boiler room. So would we re-roll here because we would want to get a passageway? You could get a passageway, or you could get, you know, a furnace, or you could get, I don't know. I would feel better about things if we could get, because the problem with security as well is that, you know, while it's one piece of the unlocking all the security keycard doors, we don't have that utility closet, and it could be that the door going through security is a keycard door. I could just skip all that and say, you know what, I don't need to run all of this. I don't need to run all these ducts together when I don't even have a boiler room yet. Just take the corridor, and you've guaranteed yourself that the door is unlocked on the other end. But the duct system does stop running in this direction. The other advantage, though, of taking security would mean that you could turn down the security level now. Yes, you run the risk of having another security door after security at the other end of the security room, but you would also get the chance to tone down the security level. You turn down the security level now. So I think we will take that. Let's take it. It's a small chance that there's a keycard door on the other end, but I'm willing to risk it because we still have the door out of the weight room, and now we know, or we could have some information to tell us whether we're allowed to take the garage or not. Let's take the security room. Okay, no security keycard door there. Good, good, good. I think we do the business with security now. We want that to be as soon as possible to minimize the amount of keycard doors that spawn. We'll peek at the estate inventory. Okay, nothing here. I'm still trying to cross-reference what was in our draft the day that we saw an upgrade disc. That's on my to-do list to try to figure out what room was it that could have possibly had an upgrade disc that I didn't find. Tone down keycard system settings as per usual. I don't remember what we put in for a special order last time for the commissary. Maybe it was a magnifying glass. And I do want to get my hands on another magnifying glass. This time, because we're going into day 20, and we know that there's a sale in the commissary, I'm going to special order one of the more expensive items to try to get more value out of my coins, because I'm greedy like that. So let's go to staff services and let's do special orders. And I think I will get a metal detector. There's a bunch of these that are all, you know, kind of like the same. There's a bunch of these that cost 8 gold. And I feel like the metal detector is the most all-purpose. You're never sad to have a metal detector. Sometimes you're sad to have a shovel or a sledgehammer because you just don't get the dig sites or the trunks. But the metal detector is always on. So let's get the metal detector. You could say the same thing about the running shoes, but I feel like keys and coins are more valuable to us in general than steps are. So let's approve that order. Let's see if this door through security opens. It does. And that is where the red room fun would come to, the ducts fun would come to an end if we decide to not re-roll here. I don't think we want to take a dead end here. We have 2 dice already, so I don't want the closet, and we don't care so much about the red rooms at this point that we've already used up our shelter. And unless we have tomato soup in the kitchen, I don't see a reason for us to want the furnace here because it doesn't get us a key without the boiler room. So we could just take the observatory, and then that's another door into rank 5, and maybe the observatory is one of those doors that guarantees that it's not a key card door. There's also the option to reroll. Because the thing about the observatory is that we are getting, if we take the reward, I guess you don't have to look in the telescope technically, right? There's the option to not look in the telescope. But I think if we did, I think this puts us at 12 stars, and we finally have Draxus the Dead that we've talked about a few times already, even today. So would we want, I don't know that we want to turn on Draxus the Dead right now when we're a bit limited on doors. I suppose it would make things like the vault. The vault would become more likely. And if you get the vault, it could also be, taking Draxus the Dead could make tomorrow rooms more likely. And you might just say, well, okay, I'm going to go with taking whatever tomorrow rooms I get, and maybe the vault lets me buy a bunch of stuff at the bookshop, and we have this permanent progress that we've banked, and it's a pretty short draft overall. But the other option here is to just use your redraw and try to go for the boiler room or the laboratory or one of these rooms that continues the connectivity with the duct system. You could also take the observatory, don't look in the telescope yet, draft a bunch of rooms, draft more rooms up until the point at which you would be happy getting dead ends, and then you take Draxus the Dead, and you put all those dead ends in spots where they make sense. You'd probably have to spend more steps that way, but hey, we bypassed the weight room. We got the sauna going into today. Yeah, we had to go back to draft the guy's bedroom, but we've got more steps than we might otherwise at this at a similar point. I just would like to get at least one more room, like the cloister or the passageway. One more room. The cloister would be awesome. And I would like to get that out of the observatory before I activate Draxus the Dead, right? If you get a cloister going out into rank 5, and then you activate that Draxus of the Dead, and you get a locksmith, and you get a... are there other... What are the other dead-end shops? The laundry room, right? You get those dead-end shops that are more likely to show up, and you get to connect them to your free cloister. Oh, the value and the allowance tokens that we could get. I think that's the play. We'll take the observatory here, and we don't take the reward just yet. But we will try to draft through the observatory and see if we can get that. I want the cloister. We're getting the greenhouse buff. We've got the terrace. This is where you give me a cloister, right, game? We're not doing the duct system anymore. We're through the observatory. Don't give me any more duct-related rooms. Just give me a cloister. That's all I ask for. See, guys, when you ask nicely, when you're just a very polite and mild-mannered individual that just asks the RNG gods for exactly what you want, they listen. This is what we're doing. We're doing this. We are doing this. Do I ever? So we're taking the cloister. Obviously. It's what I asked for. Cloister it is. Now, there's a question of ordering. Or there is still a question of, do I slam dunk the Draxus the Dead here? Do I just do that? Because I could do that, and then I could go back to the weight room and draft a garage. And then I can draft... I guess I can look and see. So there's no security keycard door there. Can I see the other doors? Or are they obscured? They've conveniently... I think I can make out... This is a regular door. Because I can see that the paneling on the regular door there matches what's here. So I can just see barely enough past that bush to see that that door is not a keycard door without taking a step yet. Don't know how important that is. Probably just me min-maxing like I always do. Because I'm thinking maybe what I want to do is draft at least one door from the cloister, maybe like the east wing door. See if I can get like an east wing hall, or potentially a kitchen that points downward. You know, if I'm trying to live in the world where I'm drafting as many rooms as possible. Draft that first and then activate the observatory effect. Or maybe draft 2 of the doors from the cloister and then activate the observatory effect. So there's some ways that you could, some of it's going to depend on whether these doors are locked or not, right? Let's do that. Let's gather the information here. Let's go to the cloister. The door, notably, 5-3, if we can manage to remember it here, is the room that we're looking for the artwork. We don't want to draft that one yet, though. Like, I'm thinking this might be a room where I'd settle for a dead end, like a locksmith. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So I want to save that room for after I've activated Draxus. I want to check this room first, though, and see if this is open. It is locked. I think I want to draft at least, because I only have 2 keys. So I want to draft an unlocked door first. But of course, if you get a locksmith, I mean, maybe I would just take a locksmith here, if it's offered to me. It's probably the smart play to take the locksmith. Even if it's at this door going into rank 6. Let's see if it's unlocked. It is unlocked. And that is a break room. Boom. We take a break room. We don't have the shelter anymore from the red rooms, so we don't get to benefit from the gym costing us less steps. But the break room gets us keys. That's the most important part here. The break room gets us keys, and that's what we need right now. We just need keys. And now with the break room, I would be a little less likely to want. I would be less likely. Well, less likely. I take the break room. I'm always just, you know, I'm hemming and hawing always over what order to do things in. Do I go into the break room and take the keys first? Because now we know it's not 2 guaranteed regular keys. It could be a silver key or some other special key. Let's do the dartboard game. Wait a second. Dude, I'm seeing some new stuff. Okay, we've upgraded the break room. The billiard room has been upgraded to a break room, which means the stuff in the room has changed. I didn't even think about that possibility. Holy shit. We've added stuff. This is not the room yet that we need to find the new artwork, but we've added, what the heck? This staff notice is the same as before, which has the swan song scribbled out password. But there are 2 new memos here. There's a red memo that says H.S. Sinclair and Ann Babbage are the only 2 on the estate with network admin access. And then a blue note, staff contracts are no longer kept on the highest rank. What does that mean? What is a staff contract? What does it mean that they're no longer kept on the highest rank? I don't quite get that. Screenshots, of course, as always. And then there's a staff notice, which is, I think, the same as we've read in the maid's chamber. The day we've dreaded has finally arrived. Unprecedented sadness, we inform you of the death of our benefactor, H.S. Sinclair. The following instructions left by the Baron himself. All work at Mount Holly is suspended. All live-in staff have 1 month paid leave and must vacate the premises by Friday, November 6th. Yeah, we've seen that before. Don't remember exactly which room, but I think it was the maid's chamber. We got the coffee machine here. All right, and of course they've added I guess a jukebox, which is the same as what's in the commissary. All right, well, awesome. And now, yo, what the hell? There's like they have added some rules for staff. +1 point per consecutive dartboard solved during breaks. Each week, point totals reset, and weekly leader gets an extended lunch. And then they have the leaderboard over here, KT with 44. Do we recognize any of these initials? I guess AB would be Ann Babbage. Oh, she's up to 30. KT and KD. I don't see DR. Denny Ravain's not on here, right? Denny's no longer around. RNCT. I don't remember them adding... We upgraded the parlor. We've upgraded... Well, I mean, we did see the addition in the Geist bedroom. This is not unprecedented. There have been... Have there been other changes that I just don't remember? Okay, because there's been, like, the simple changes, like upgrading the hallway with a key. That didn't seem to change any of the stuff in the hallway. And the same thing with the courtyard. We added 2 gems. But that didn't... Nothing else in the courtyard seemed to change. But now all of a sudden we've got, like, these major changes that are being made to places like the billiard room, which is throwing me off a little bit. Okay. New information you got to incorporate into things. Now, what about our math game? How will we... we'll get anything new? We've learned exponents are part of the process now. What else are they going to throw at us? Okay, this is 3 squared. So that should be 9. Good. 3 squared divided by 9, which should be 1. Okay. 3 squared. Although, here's where the order comes in. We got a minus. I think the minus happens before squaring. So it's actually 3 minus 1, which is 2 squared, which is 4, divided by 4, which is also 1. Damn it, that's not the order. So the squaring happens first. Let's try this again. 9. 1. And then we have, if it's not subtraction first, then it would be squaring first, which gets us to 3 squared is 9. Minus 1 is 8. Divided by 4 is 2. There we go. Got it. And we do get the 2 regular keys this time. Okay. We want as many keys as we can get, because even if we don't end up using these all, then we have keys to open down in the, out in the reservoir, right? And so, I wonder if we should just, maybe we should just activate Draxus the Dead now. Activate that first, and then if we end up getting a bunch of dead-end rooms, maybe they're tomorrow rooms, and we can just end our draft, and we have a buffed-up draft for tomorrow, and we get to take our keys and go out to the reservoir and open those chests and hopefully get an Inner Sanctum key. Let's at the very least start by trying to draft the Breakroom, see if that's locked, and if it isn't, then we'll hope to get as many doors, or at least a door that goes into rank 7, so that the draft keeps going in that direction before we activate Draxus, but it is locked. 4 keys. We know the door out of the cloister going to the east wing is also locked. We don't know about the door to the west. And we don't know about the door going to the west in the weight room. Part of me just wants to activate Draxus the Dead, not overthink this, and just see how it feels. Because maybe it's just going to be one of these things where it's like all these rare rooms that you never get, like the master bedroom, although we don't want the master bedroom necessarily unless we have a magnifying glass. But maybe it's the, you know, the game is probably just saying, take the observatory effect and see what happens. Don't overthink it. Maybe I'm more scared of this Draxus of the Dead than I should be, but, you know, I just want to get some more options to draft into the rest of the house before we get this thing online. But I do have 2 dice as well that I have to remember, although I would like to maybe spend those at the cloister to try to get shops. What we're going to do, though, we are going to unlock this break room door and see if I can get a room that goes into rank 7. We've got the 4 keys. Let's use one of them here before we activate the Draxus. And that's, there we go. Perfect. We get 3 options, in fact. That would be okay for us. I don't love the maid's chamber after we've lost the shelter of the... after we've lost our shelter from Red Room negative effects. But the maid's chamber would be decent if we get our hands on an office. We have not done the payroll. It's so crazy that we did the payroll like, what was it, day 2 or day 3, and we haven't been able to do it since. But we could also just take a patio here gets us so many gems, doesn't it? It's probably just a patio. I think the patio also has a chance to contain a broken lever, maybe? Although maybe that was because of the veranda. Maybe the veranda was buffing it somehow. But yeah, we take the patio. On top of everything else, it's free. So not only are we getting the gems, but we don't even have to spend a gem. So we'll take the steps in because there might be additional items. Not in this case. I don't think we're going to draft, though, through the patio. I think I'd rather go back to the cloister. We have a gem to get in the cloister. And we also, like, I want to see if I can draft... Well, now that we have this door into rank 7, I'm going to do what I was thinking. Let's see if we can draft that other door through the cloister into rank, into rank 5. Because if we can get, like, a kitchen there that angles upward, something like that would be fantastic. And I would like to do that before activating Draxus. So let's go there. Like, I don't know exactly how the Draxus of the Dead buff or debuff, depending on how you want to look at it. I don't know how that's going to feel. It might feel perfectly fine, but I'm envisioning this world where all 3 of your options are going to be dead ends and you just have nowhere to go and your draft is immediately done. But maybe it doesn't feel like that at all. Maybe it's just saying like, hey, we're going to make the attic and the vault, the super rare dead ends, are going to be just as common as all the other dead ends. I don't know. Maybe that's how it's going to feel. Let's at least see if we can draft this door. It might be locked. It's not locked. And that's a commissary. Perfect. I would like to get my hands on some more gems at some point, but we've already spread gems to the green rooms. We just need a place. Well, we want a place to spend our coins, but we also want to... This is a +2 to our allowance. Hello? Of course, we're taking a commissary here, right? Now, the thing is, it does not... It's acting as a dead end here. So now our options are a little bit limited if we don't get a corresponding... If we don't get the right room that goes through, you know, the patio and the weight room. But we're going to take the commissary here. This is okay. It's okay. I want to take the commissary. Our draft might be... Yeah, there we go. Ooh, that's our first time getting the buff from Lydia. Lydia makes an appearance on screen ever so momentarily to let us know, hey, I just helped you out. Aren't you happy? I'm very happy. +2 to allowance. Let's go. I see a shovel. And there's a magnifying glass. Perfect. There are lots of dig sites. So we're taking this shovel and we're taking this magnifying glass, I think. And then we're also, because we're going to be digging up more coins. So we can come back here and buy the set of gems as well, hopefully, after we've dug up all those things. So we can just buy both of those things right now. Because we're definitely going to make use of both the shovel and the magnifying glass because we have the Darkroom. We do want to go back to the Darkroom and inspect all those things. And maybe there's stuff... I might just take the time to look through all of these rooms that we've been to before that have readings and just take another close examination with the magnifying glass just to make sure I haven't missed anything. And the other reason to draft this room is we have... I think this confirms now the fact that this word here is actually tier. It doesn't... I just don't know exactly what this is specifically called. It doesn't seem like this is a tier. When I think of the word tier, I would never picture this. But when there's a tiger here, tiger and tier have to make sense, right? Especially because we've seen, I think, tier and tie in a different set of picture pairings. So it is what it is. That is a tier for our purposes. We'll make note of it. Tiger and tier, and now we just need room 9-4. That's it. And we will have our full listing of letters and word pairings to go through. You know, we might be able to make some sense of... We're only missing one letter, so we might be able to see some patterns if we filled in all of the letters. But I kind of want to wait until we have all of them and go from there. Let's wait till we have every single last bit of information. And then we can start to piece things together, you know? Get all your ducks in a row. Because that's the name of the game here, is ducks. I wonder if you're ever supposed to wait until you get, like, a metal detector to dig these up, but... Because it does feel like the metal detector helps you out a lot with the dig sites. There you go, though. The 2 coins that I was hoping for will get us those 4 gems from the commissary. And a turnip as well. We feel great about getting as many turnips as we can, because we're going to have to do some backtracking to get gems. The nice thing about having so many gems could be that there is going to be an increased offering rate on a freezer. I'm still spending like a bunch of time sitting here trying to think like when is going to be the best time to activate this Straxus the Dead. And what I keep realizing is you don't really know. You don't really know, you dingus, because you've never done it before. You don't know how this is going to feel. It could be the best of worlds. It could be the worst of worlds. You just don't know. So what we're going to do is we're not going to overthink this. I'm not going to overthink this anymore. I'm just going to take the buff. This could be the end of our run, or it could mean that we're going to be, you know, out of rooms to draft very soon because we just don't get any more rooms offered to us. There we go. Dead end rooms are more common today. Maybe that, and maybe it is what I'm thinking, right? Maybe now the attic is going to be standard rarity or something like that. Who knows? And if so, like, that's really awesome, right? But it could also mean that, like, the furnace is standard rarity. But anyway, we'll deal with that when we get there. What I'm going to do first is I will go back and go to each of the green rooms to pick up gems. And I'm also going to use my magnifying glass. I don't think I have to do on... We can check... I guess we can check this. Have we ever actually checked this with the magnifying glass? I think we have, right? Unless written by hand. Red memos are lies. Have we ever seen any handwritten red memos? I feel like we have not yet. But maybe I need to check my notes. Maybe I need to double check. I'm not going to draft this room through the weight room just yet. I suppose it wouldn't matter, but I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna come back here regardless. What we're gonna start with is I am gonna take the time to review each of these. We're gonna take the magnifying glass through each of these newspaper clippings just to see if there's any details that I might have, well, that I would need the magnifying glass for. We can also see the swan necklace here for our that our mother's wearing, but otherwise I don't see, just like, you know, everything else so far that has felt like if you can't see something strange with the naked eye, something that looks like, oh, I need the magnifying glass for that. If you don't see that, it doesn't seem like there's much of a chance that you're actually going to see something with the magnifying glass that you didn't already notice. But it has happened, so that's why I'm just being a little bit trying to be extra careful. Like, I do always wonder if there's some little detail in one of these photos, almost like a Where's Waldo type thing. Like, I'm gonna all of a sudden see the red crown thief is gonna stand out because we use the magnifying glass. I'm not noticed anything in the newspaper clippings, but I think we definitely want to look in the darkroom. The darkroom, especially this photo here. This is the main one where it felt like we might be able to make some... Oh my god! Whoa, look at that. Oh dear. Green memos found in Hartley's room are always false. Oh shit. What? Green memos found in Hartley's room are always false. Question. Who's Hartley? Checks notes. Searching for Hartley in notes. Do I have the name Hartley somewhere? Hartley. I do. There's a Hartley in letter from Herbert to, oh, Hartley Ruota. Oh, Hartley Ruota is the guy who lived in the servants' quarters. So that, I mean, I had wondered if this is Mr. I don't know if I said his name right, but I think I was thinking that this guy was the servants' quarters guy because I saw like this suitcase and what looked like the servants' quarters in the background. Green memos found in Hartley's room are always false. We only have the one memo that was found in his room if we're assuming that the servants' quarter... Is it quarter or quarters? The servants' quarters... The only green memo that was there are 12 major keys. So that makes sense, actually, that that's a lie, because I had started to try to count those up, and I was like, wait a second, we're not even getting close to 12 major keys. What did I even get to on my list that I put together here? I had the secret garden key, the silver key, the prism key, and then I was like, are we going to have to include, like, the car keys, the file cabinet keys, the deposit box keys? I also thought about the bust in the foyer. Major Nicholas key, the fourth. A major who's... a key who's also a major. One of our family tree, supposedly. Major Nicholas key. Unintentional rhyme and the wordplay and puns are always in the works here on blueprints. Green memos found in Hartley's room are always false. Okay, well, so there's not 12 major keys. I don't see otherwise why that is super relevant to us, but noted nonetheless. Are there any other photos here that have more interesting stuff on them because we're able to look with the magnifying glass? I could see with how blurry some of these are, because this the photo that was over here, this looks so freaking blurry. Like, this is not just a, you know, the magnifying glass is not just making this bigger, it is making it like clear in a way that when you don't have the magnifying glass, it's just, there's some photoshopped blurring effect that's been applied. So I could see that there could be an instance where similar text might appear if we were to look at one of these photos in the right spot with the magnifying glass, and all of a sudden, wait a second, there's text there that I couldn't even see otherwise. What about the heart? I hadn't thought about the heart maybe being 1128. The heart actually is visible. Whoa. 1128. Boom. This is awesome. We got the darkroom on a day when we had the shelter, and we got the magnifying glass. Brilliant. Now we're actually, with the Draxus the Dead, now we would love to get our hands on the master bedroom again. We'll see if that happens. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could zoom in and the correct lock combination was somehow, somebody had left the lock in the correct orientation, or I just realized, what if the lock combination is 1128? Oh shit. That would make so much sense, wouldn't it? Okay, we're trying that. We'll see how we manage our steps at the end of the day here, because we want to go back to the bottom of the reservoir, but now we also might want to try a new lock combination. Okay, 1128, noted. Does that Cindy Crawford mole potentially have? You zoom in on the mole and all of a sudden it's like this like paragraph of information that tells you every single safe code. Every single lock combination. That's where it's the master cipher. The mole is the master key of information. I am also just realizing that this picture, this is a selfie. I'm realizing this is actually a selfie because our great uncle went into the lavatory. Who knows what year this was? Who knows? I guess, you know, he's a little bit older in the picture, so it wasn't that long ago. But he's using like an old school camera to look in the mirror in the lavatory and take a lavatory selfie. I mean, we might be able to check the lavatory if Draxus the Dead is online. The lavatory, I have a feeling, is going to be making its appearance in some of our draft options. That is awesome. The magnifying glass paying dividends. The only question mark I have, obviously, is what color is this memo, right? Do we assume this is a red memo? I don't know if we can make that assumption. It's tough to tell. But maybe it's supposed to be a red memo because you're in a red room, the red light, and just don't overthink it, because otherwise you can't tell for sure if it's whatever other color it would be. So assume it's a red note, which means it's false. So the green memos found in Hartley's rooms are always true? Question mark? Let's see what we get with our dig sites here in the courtyard. Pebbles. We love our pebbles. Don't forget our gem. That's the other reason we came back to these green rooms. And another coin. 11 coins. And then we check the dig sites in the greenhouse. Some more coins. And an old tin can. Is that the last? Just those two dig sites. So those are all, there should be a gem as well, right? Where's the gem? Here it is. Okay, so we've gotten all the gems from our green rooms. We've dug up all the dig sites in the green rooms. I don't think, we have 24 steps. I don't think we're going to go back outside, even though I'm curious to check the lock. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm also curious to go back to the bottom of the reservoir, but let's continue the draft for now, and we'll hope to get some additional steps or some running shoes that will get us back outside to finish the day. At the same time, we do want to finish the day in the break room, don't we? The break room is where we want to call it a day. Is there ever a world where we go back outside now? I think we're too low on steps to do that. It's 5 to get outside. We only have 3 keys anyways. If we go down to the bottom of the reservoir, it takes us like 1, 2, 3 steps to get to the reservoir. So we're down to 15 steps. And then we're only able to open 3 of those chests. And then we would be coming back out to get to the campsite. And that would be another like 5 steps. So we'd be down to 10. We're not going to make it back inside. We need to get our hands on some more steps first. Let's get our kitchen. Let's get our dining room, sneakers, all these other things. Let's get those in place first, and then we can worry about coming back outside. And maybe also calling it a day in the break room. You know, maybe we don't even make it back outside today. That's the thing. Maybe we call it a day in the break room. We start tomorrow with whatever we happen to start with, which would be a key card, right? We would get a key card to start tomorrow. But maybe if we get some tomorrow rooms on top of that, because dead ends are a lot more common. I think we open this door first at the weight room, because if we get a garage here, that's great. A garage here is fine. Okay. Right off the bat. Directly right off the bat. Okay. Well, Draxus the Dead says, I heard you like vaults. I heard... Vaults are, this is just a common now for us, guys. This is just every single draft we get the vault. And that's all there is to it. I think we're taking a vault. And if nothing else, we have a gold sink, right? We have a bookshop that we can always spend our coins there. So, and we get gems back at the commissary. This is an easy vault. Once again, is it never, like, obviously I think we've passed the vault once before at least. Did we not? I was thinking that was a key card for a second. We've passed the vault at some point, I think. Just like we passed the master bedroom. There have been times where we've passed these really rare dead ends because it just didn't make sense. There were reasons. But we've been running out of those reasons recently. So, just a quick perusal here to see if there's any extra items or anything like that. But yeah, okay. Now we are, the dead ends are a lot more common. So this could be the end of things. This could be the end. We'd kind of like, I kind of would like to get a locksmith out of the cloister. I kind of want the locksmith. Do I want to do anything? I'm just going to quickly check inventory. Just do a quick inventory check here. Nothing that I've missed. Just reassure myself there's no upgrade disc laying around. Let's check the cloister and see. Because this we do have to use a key for, but that's fine because we're down to 2 doors. So I don't need to spend my coins at the commissary just yet. So let's see what we get going out of the cloister. It gives us a walk-in closet. I think that's correct because this is what gets us more keys. The most likely thing getting us more keys is going to be this walk-in closet. We have 2 dice, but I think we need to save those for the patio. Because that's where we need things to go places. Like, yeah, I would love, like, my perfectionist tendencies would love to get a room that goes down to the last room in rank 4. And a gym could do that. We could take the gym, but I don't really want to be losing the steps here. So I think we miss out on that last rank 4 with the dream. I don't think you're going to get all 45 rooms filled up on a Draxus the Dead day. Just a hunch. But I have a feeling that it's going to be a lot tougher to do. This is where we need a walk-in closet because we need keys. Or a key card. The walk-in closet could have a key card, right? Haven't we seen one there before? We take the walk-in. I do see a key right off the bat. I, in fact, see 2 keys. Let's go. I feel like the game, this could just be my imagination, but I kind of think the game, it takes your inventory into account. Oh, you only have one key? All right. We'll skew things. We'll skew that pool of random items a little bit less randomly. 53 coins. If we wanted to just save all 50 of these coins for the bookshop, there's a world where we do that. We have 6 gems. I'm just thinking, do I ever buy any at the commissary right this second? Like, maybe I should buy the stack of gems. And there's still, like, there are cheaper books. We don't have to spend all 50 coins at the bookshop if we want to sink our gold. There's still the 20 coins and maybe a 40 coin option. So it's probably smart for us to just take... Yeah, we spend the 2 extra steps, but we want to have gems. We don't want to run out of gems. We also don't want to run out of rooms to draft from. Like, this could be... We have 4 dice. We're going to make sure that one way or the other, we have doors to go through as we progress here. We just need to make sure we can buy whatever comes our way. Right? Right? Or, hey, we get a freezer. That's the other thing. A freezer. Would we take a freezer right now? I probably would. Probably would slam dunk a freezer. Because that means that we get to spend the rest of our keys. Maybe it does. I actually don't think we could make our way back out. If we did get a freezer offered going through the patio, I would take it, and we would probably just end the day in the break room. And we say, you know what? We're starting tomorrow on awesome footing. Yeah, we didn't get to use our dice. Yeah, we didn't get to put together a power hammer or whatever else. Yeah, we didn't get to use our magnifying glass. On that note, that was in the, that's down in the basement. There's things that we can do still with this day, but we got to put ourselves on such a better footing for tomorrow. Tomorrow. Cue the Little Orphan Annie music. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Through the patio. We're using a key because of course. Of course we are. All right. Servants' quarters gets us a lot of keys, but we don't have enough steps to make it back to... actually, does it get us that many keys? It actually only gets us 3 keys, so never mind. But that would be... I would love to take 5 keys down to the bottom of the reservoir, but at the same time, that doesn't keep our draft going. The draft ends there, and we don't have a freezer yet. So here I'm going to take the veranda. The other option is you redraw, right? But I think we... It's just keys are the only concern, right? But I don't think a veranda can have a key card door. The courtyard can, but I don't think the veranda would allow you to have a key card door. Can't say that for sure. But I kind of like the veranda here. The veranda keeps... It does seem like it's giving us at least 1. It's like 2 dead ends and then 1 not dead end. So it's giving you at least 1 way to keep your draft going, even with the increased offering. Or the more commonality, the Draxus buff. I like also that the veranda has dig sites, and that can get us more steps, right, with turnips. I'd like to get more steps. As much as we'll just see how the draft goes, but I think the veranda makes sense here. We've got enough green room synergy where this makes perfect sense. Surprisingly, I was going to say, that is there not at least a... I didn't order that correctly. I think the metal detector does influence. So I made a misplay because I think it influences your dig sites. I should have looked right here because there's almost always an item like that in the veranda. A sledgehammer, a shovel, a metal detector. And I should have given myself another chance to dig up keys. I feel like we do see keys a lot more commonly from dig sites. When we have a metal detector, could just be my imagination. All right. I think we want to keep the draft going still. I want to say, There's 2 ways you could think about this, right? The master bedroom we get when we have a magnifying glass. We would get to check out the things in the master bedroom. At the same time, that's the end of our draft. So I think I take the chapel here. We can still keep this draft going. We've got 2 keys. We're getting closer to taking a servant's quarters. Like now, if we have the chapel and we take a servant's quarters at the top right, you know, I don't want to end the draft just yet. Obviously, a mailroom would be great here. Or fine, it would be fine, because we could take the mailroom and end the day in the break room. But I want to keep things going. I just want to keep things going, especially while we have keys. And we know we're not making it back to the reservoir, so these keys are going to waste. And it would be nice to at least get our hands on enough steps to get us back to the bookshop. Well, back to the bookshop and then back to the break room. That's how we want this to go. Which means we really need a dining room. Let's take the chapel. Let's take it. We're going to maybe be running out of keys here pretty quick. Dude, what is it with the... Oh, metal detector. Okay, we do have the metal detector, but I feel like we've been seeing the leftover tithe now so commonly, whether it's a tithe or just a random gem. It feels like it's become much more common to see in the chapel. We see Lydia over here in her spot, who already made an appearance on screen as we drafted the commissary. Still got to figure out a way to get access to this 8th angel to point to our dreams. Okay, let's draft up from the chapel, because now, if we do get our hands on either a locksmith or a servant's quarters, that kind of a room is where I want to put it up here in the top right. And maybe I even spend a couple rerolls on trying to get one of those rooms. Oh, shit. There it is. There it is. Okay, I think I'm going to stick to my word. I always hate letting a run go, but I think this run is letting itself go. This run is telling me, it's like, okay, you've only got 7 steps. You've got a break room already. You have so many gems and coins that you're never going to spend. Unless you somehow get your hands on some keys. This is a tailor-made freezer. We could theoretically check the freezer. I don't remember if there are things to look at with the magnifying glass. I don't remember if that's the case. We might draft out of the chapel first, because if there were a master bedroom, well, we would get a lot more steps if we got a master bedroom. So then our problems would be solved. In terms of trying to look at, I forgot to look at the stuff on the break room with the magnifying glass, but we're going back there, so it's okay. I do want to check, though, just in case there's stuff there that needs to be found. I think we're taking the freezer, and this is where we start to wind down. We look for at least one more really good tomorrow room before we make our way back to the break room. That's what we have 4 dice for and a key out of the chapel. So we take that freezer. We take it. We don't get to spend any more gems. So now we don't actually get access to the master bedroom if it gets offered. So that's a bit unfortunate, but you know, yeah, it happens. There's a lot more tomorrow rooms that don't cost gems that we would be happy to get here. And the only thing that I was thinking was I wanted to check my notes and see. I wanted to just check the freezer notes that I have to remind myself whether there's anything that I would want to check with the magnifying glass. I don't think so. The one thing that we might miss out on here is our last bit of artwork. We'll see what this next room from the chapel is, but we might not get to see the artwork in this room 9-4. Maybe not. I don't see a reason to step in the chapel, because if I step in the freezer to try to look at stuff with, I don't think there's anything to look at with a magnifying glass, especially when everything's frozen. Maybe when it's unfrozen, that's a different story. And the way we do that, again, is by putting the furnace nearby, right? If we draft the furnace right here, would that be worth? I mean, we only have one more room to draft, right? So we're taking this no matter what. So let's see what we get. And then we can decide how we proceed. Dormitory versus gallery versus laundry room. We don't have a reason to take the dormitory at this point because, well, it wouldn't have any effect anyways, because we only get the extra steps after we have done an additional drafting room. So it's not the dormitory. Gallery versus laundry room. The gallery could be fun to just have some more practice at solving the puzzles. And really, there's nothing to do with... We can't take the laundry room, can we? So really the gallery isn't really useful to us at all. We would, well, I shouldn't say at all. The only use to us is if we get other puzzles that we would be able to figure out. I am curious, does it actually, like, wouldn't there have to be more than 4 puzzles? Wouldn't there have to be more? We have 4 redraws, though. We're supposed to use one of these redraws here to get us a tomorrow room, aren't we? This is where we say the room has, the draft has come to an end. Redraw to give yourself a tomorrow room. That's what makes sense to me. Let's redraw. Let's use those dice. Planetarium? That's not the one. That's not the one that I want. Shit. Well, now we have a choice. I have 3 more rerolls. I'm probably going to use one here. It's interesting because the planetarium is a room that we've never explored. There could be things to look at in the planetarium, especially with the magnifying glass. But I would much rather call it a day in the break room because I want to get a key card. Shit. I mean, I think I want the key card more than I want the 2 stars. So really, it's not the planetarium at all. The only reason that I would take the planetarium would be just to have the new room and to examine it. And to me, that's not a good enough reason. We'll get around to drafting the planetarium at some point. By the way, I'm only just now noticing the fact that there are skulls next to our green plants that have been... The greenhouse adds the greenery to our draft screen. The skulls have been added thanks to Draxus, I can only assume, which I guess goes very well with our Geist bedroom. So we are really, we have a bit of a death fixation, but you know, dead ends, bring that in. That's what you do when you're playing Blueprints. We still have 3 more rerolls. We still have we reroll. We go again, and there's a mailroom. Or there's a code check. Would we ever want to coat check any of these items? It does feel like the magnifying glass has been tough to get our hands on. It's appeared randomly in a couple places. I think the Nook was one of those. But it doesn't seem to show up in the commissary nearly as much as shovels and metal detectors. But I also just really like the idea of taking the mailroom. We also, I guess, okay, so let me think. If we take the mailroom, we could... Would there be anything in the mailroom to re-examine with the magnifying glass? We could check, definitely, right? We have 7 steps. We could go mailroom 6, chapel 5, 4, 3, 2. We get back to the break room with enough steps to not be exhausted, and we would be able to re-examine the things in the break room. I think this is perfect. We take the mailroom here, and that's how we end our day. Mailroom it is, along with the freezer, and we're going to be getting a key card to start our day. I like this. We have a nice run powered up for tomorrow. We have checked this before. We know that, did they ever prove he was the one who stole the Baron's mail? We know how much Denny really factors into our story here. In some ways, you might even consider him the, I don't know, he's not the main protagonist, obviously, but man, is he a strong, the fact that he was wronged so badly by Cinca and maybe by Sinclair himself. He just couldn't quite ever get his hands on room 46, though. This is a fun little detail. So you can see the stamp here on one of these letters. Vera Shores, the turtle. That's the VHS tapes, right, in the bunk room, which we still need to check out at some point. The Tales of Vera or something like that. Which makes me want to look at the other stamps here. What do we have on this one? Arch Aries, Together We Weather, in commemoration of the opening of 5th Zone Power Plant, the Contessa. Whoa, okay. I seriously would never have been able to read that without the magnifying glass, that's for sure. Is that going to be important? Screenshot. And this one up here is sideways, but we can maybe still read it. Oh, Morajai. Is that the ship? The ship is named Morajai. There's also a number here, by the way. There's a number 4. Maybe that just means it's the 4th letter, though. What was on the first one here? No, but the Arch Aries has a number 5. And what about the turtle? This has a number 10. Oh my god, I think these are clues to something. It's a good thing we came back to the mailroom with the magnifying glass. Maybe. It could also just be red herring. So, yet to be determined whether that is actually a good thing. But at the very least, we are seeing things we didn't see before. The White Sea of Yore, I think is what it said. Dude, wait a second. Do you see the shape? That little wedge, like it's an orange wedge or something, in between the White Sea of Yore. It's one of those shapes from the Inner Sanctum. Oh my god, is there a similar shape on the other stamps? This is crazy. We might need to get more letters from Randolph. We might need to get more letters. Because are there shapes on there was not a shape there on the turtle one, so far as I could tell. Is there a shape? I guess there's a lightning bolt on this number 5 stamp. Arch Aries, together we weather. I don't know if the lightning bolt, let me check. This is why I take screenshots, so I can look and see the Inner Sanctum. Did it have a lightning bolt as one of its shapes? I don't think so. I don't see a lightning bolt, but I do see the wedge. What the heck, dude? This is crazy. Here's that nuance stamp again. It's also a number 10. It might, maybe the numbers don't mean anything other than that that's just what the currency is. You have to spend 10 gold to get this stamp. Some of the stamps you can't even see because of the envelope is behind the letters. So I don't know. I don't know if these stamps are important. Here's another one over here. We can kind of make out... Dude, there's a shape again. This is... What the fuck, man? Okay, I don't know. Wait a minute. Okay, the Eastern Rain. Atari's Yena. That last name, Yena. Ari Yena? Was that the name that we saw in the foyer? And then we have Iraja Array? Have we... Arai. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The wording in the Inner Sanctum. Oven Neverai. Oven Neverai. That's not related to this, is it? But you see, like, it's an hourglass shape there that's between... What are the words even? Some of these feel like just made-up words. Ruyen or Reuven Nevhew? I don't even know if these... Is it supposed to be a name? Is it like a cipher? Or do you need a cipher to, like, decode this cryptographic message? Who the heck? Who the heck is this? What the heck does this mean? Dude, this is crazy. Well then, what about the letter from our dad? What about this stamp? We haven't even looked at this in so long. Look at this. The Grand Realm of Fen Aries. Look at that glorious red, the red flag. I guess there's the 5-sided pentagon, right? It's a pentagonal 5-sided shape. I don't know that we've seen that symbology anywhere before, specifically regarding Fen Aries, have we? Maybe it's been on the Fen Aries passports in the vault. In fog we are lost, in fire we are found. That's a hell of a slogan. It almost looks like, you know, this is like stained in blood. And maybe that's on purpose. I had no idea that we were going to be getting this level of additional detail by looking at the stinking letters in the mailroom. It does kind of make me want to finish that experiment now with the laboratory and get... It feels like there's maybe more letters to get, although there's not that much space left on the desk. I don't know. I don't know if we can get more or not. Don't tell me, of course. Wait a second. Is this a bug? This might be a bug. So, okay. You can see when you go to open Dad's letter, and you actually page all... Let's see if it does it here as well. What the fuck? Okay, so the stamp is on the envelope still, but when you go to zoom in on it with the magnifying glass, you see this. But it doesn't seem like it actually has any information. Like, I thought at first we were like getting a see-through stamp, and now we were seeing like, gonna see like the secret combination or something. There's nothing actually written here. And this shape doesn't make any sense to me what this is. I'm gonna screenshot it, but it feels like a bug. It does feel like it is a bug. I suppose if you all know, if this is a bug, feel free to let me know. This is one instance where I think I'm okay with you telling me, because I would hate for a bug to lead me on a red herring or make me consider information that's not actually supposed to be within consideration. Although I would also not want to rule out something that is actually not a bug, you know? So feel free to clarify. I always do wonder now when I'm looking at lamps and other objects in the environment, if one of them is going to have like some sort of a secret switch that you just got to wait around 5 seconds or 10 seconds and all of a sudden you can click it. And all of a sudden this whole desk slides out of the way and there's a secret room revealed. Not in this case though. So we have just enough steps. Like I said, we have just enough to make it back to the break room. And that is where we will check out the documents just to be sure there's nothing that we missed. I don't see anything on here that would be magnifying glass related. Nothing on these either. There's just no invisible ink. It doesn't exist. I have no idea what staff contracts no longer kept on the highest rank. I have no idea what that means. But I think we can safely say Stage and Stag. We know that one here. We have not. Still looking for the art in 9-4. One more room to go there, but we know Swan Song. And I think we know all the other information here. So there's nothing in the break room that we haven't, or that we actually needed the magnifying glass for. So that is where we will wrap up this installment of Blueprints. What a great day. We didn't make it out to open any more chests. We're going to have to wait to try a new safe, not a safe combination, a lock combination out to the apple orchard. 11:28. We might do that to start our day tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling, but this is where we're going to call it a day. Thank you all very much for hanging out to the end of the video with me. If you did enjoy it, please consider doing that YouTube thing and hitting those buttons down below. It really helps the channel. And we ended up with a garden villa, or villa. I never know how to say that. Not too many rooms, but we did manage at least one. We got a streak going again here with new rooms. The bookshop has now been added. Even if we didn't get to buy any more books, we do have both Volume 5, 4, and 5 of drafting strategy on the way that we get to look forward to requesting from the library. We also got to this shelter turned out to be so much better than I could have dreamed, because I think specifically because we did Secret Passage and then we got the archives, and that started the ball rolling, because now these duct rooms seem to play in with each other or enhance the chance of seeing one of the other duct rooms, even if you don't have a boiler room. And so the dark room and the weight room, we got to do the trifecta of rooms being sheltered. Worked out perfectly. And therefore, we got to see the dark room lit up for the first time without even needing a utility closet. What in the hell? Didn't lose any steps in the weight room, and boy, did we need that. We didn't get really much other help in the steps department. For the fact that we got the sauna and the weight room negated was enough. The game said, nah, you don't need a kitchen today. You don't need those other things. You're going to be able to do more than enough. And we did get a freezer, we got a mailroom, and we got a break room. So we're starting off on the right foot for day 20. And we also supposedly have 50% off in the commissary. Looking forward to seeing what day 20 has in store. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.